How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be talking about Tales from the Darkside, Season 1, Episode 2. This one is titled The New Man. And before we get into it, I just want to say, I had seen bits and pieces of this show before, and I had seen the movie, obviously. The movie's really great, but I wanted to do a complete series watch from episode 1 all the way to the end. And, I got all the DVDs and I wanted to check the show out and document as I went through and watched every single episode. The first episode I did around Halloween time because it was a Halloween episode and it fit for the season. But you guys really did show up and support it. That video is doing pretty well. And I was going to do this series, no matter what. But I just wanted to really quickly thank you guys for all the support on the first video. So let's go ahead and talk about episode 2 now. This is directed by Frank De Palam and stars Vic Tayback. And it's based on a short story by Barbara Owens, which was adapted into a teleplay by Mark Durand. This episode aired September 30th, 1984, which is about a full year. I think it's like 11 months after the first episode aired. So there was a bit of a gap. And this is a pretty fun episode with a really disturbing, sort of idea behind it. This guy has a kid that he doesn't remember at all. That's a messed up idea, the idea that you could have a son that loves you very much and you just have no memory of this kid whatsoever, and you're like, who's this kid? Is everybody playing a joke on me? The fact that you could take that relationship and do something like this, where just like in a split second, all those memories are gone, but of course, you're left to wonder, did he forget? Or is the kid something, untrustworthy, So it's a really messed up concept. And overall, people always compare all anthology shows to The Twilight Zone, that they always do. But yeah, this could have been a really good Twilight Zone episode too, Just a little concept, a mystery to keep you going, and something that I'm going to be thinking about for a long time after. And yeah, a really good concept and a really good hook for this one. And it really does let you go, huh, that's weird. What's going on? And not everything is fully explained. I don't think it needs to be, but you begin to see that things mean something here. They're metaphors, and if you guys have a good group of friends that likes to sit down and discuss things, you can really discuss what certain things represent and, really get something out of it, or you can discuss what you think, things meant in the comments, and we'll get into specifics in a second. Now I'm going to go and talk a bit about the plot. I'm not going to be doing any major spoilers, but I do want to say my piece on a few plot points and make sure you guys have a basic understanding as to what the episode's about. We open up with this older guy, and he's a successful salesperson. You can see him calling up his leads and making sales, and he's about to make a bunch in commissions. And his boss goes, "That's great, let's celebrate with a drink." And he goes, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, I don't drink anymore. None of that stuff." So he turns him down. He's a recovering alcoholic, and you can see here, he made the right choice. Well, the boss leaves, and as the boss is leaving, a young boy in a Super Kid shirt walks in and says, "Hey, Dad, I thought I'd surprise you at work. Let's walk home together." And the guy's like, "Whoa, you have me mixed up for someone else, kid. I don't know you. I've never met you before in my life." And the kid's like, "Dad, don't say that. What do you mean? I'm your son, And he goes, "Okay, this is a weird kid. I'm just gonna take him and leave him at the police station. They'll put him with his parents." And he just leaves him and forgets about him, like, okay, that was weird. Some kid thought I was his dad. Whatever. Well, he gets home, everything seems normal, but the wife gets a call, and she's like, "Why did you leave our son at the police station?" The police are going to drop him off here, but why did you do that? And they're all confused. Everybody else, he has a wife and he has an older son. He remembers the older son, which really probably makes it sting that much more for the younger son, assuming he is real and not some sort of apparition. But, you know, he remembers his wife, he remembers his older son, and they bring the kid back in and they're, you know, sit down for dinner. He's like, whoa, is this some sort of dinner guest? He can stay for dinner. I don't mind, but who is he? And they're like, you don't remember your son? What are you back on again? And this is where they start to talk about his alcohol problems. He had been a big alcoholic and he quit. He's doing the right thing, he quit. But when something happens, when something weird and strange happens to this guy that he's the victim, people don't trust him. You know, it's sort of a story about broken trust. He had been such an alcoholic before that he's thrust into this, you know, it's not his fault. He turned down the drink at the beginning, but because that trust had been broken, even though he's working on the right path, even though he's being good, even though he's doing the right thing, his wife, his older son, everybody's like, oh, he's drinking again. No, you said you weren't going to do that. And just the fact that this guy can't get the help he needs, that's the really, you know, one of the messed up things about this episode. I mean, the fact that you have a son that you spent a lifetime with and you've forgotten that, and everybody else forgot, that's messed up. But it's also messed up that when you clearly need help, everybody just goes, you. And that's really messed up too. You know, one thing I do wish with this episode is, you know, they portray him as an older, gruffer guy. I really do wish you got a little more at the beginning. You got to see him trying. You got to see him trying to be a better person. I wish that was set up a little more, you know, where you got to see the effort and you got to see him, you know, building all this so that when it's torn down, it would sting even more. But then again, you can't really do too much setup because that would answer too many questions if you saw whether the kid was there or not before he walked in the office. But yeah, if there was just a little more setup, because, you know, it's way too easy. He's an older guy, he's gruffer. You know, it's kind of easy for some audience members to go, gruff old guy, and dismiss him just like the characters in the episode. But man, the poor guy, you know, you could see that this was something he struggled with, and no one is helping him out, you know? So this guy had a really big whammy of absolutely disturbing things happen to him, and yeah, that's gonna stick in your head as an audience, you know? And also, you know, what it means and what's actually playing out. There is a little bit of an answer at the very end of this episode, I won't spoil it, that kind of implies what really might be happening. But they don't spell it out, and they don't say every little piece. But I'm kind of wondering, you know, what exactly happened with this kid, and it does make you think, and what exactly the stuff meant, you know? What does the kid represent towards the real-life, non-fictional before the story that we saw? Well, I mean, fictional, but non-supernatural, you know? What does all this stuff mean and represent in a real context? And there's also things like the looping aspect. There's this weird thing where there's a few moments that are repeated later on. The boss makes a joke, you know, when the guy turns down the alcohol, and then later on he'll make another joke similar but not the same. And there's a scene where the mom's handing the kid salad, and the mom goes, "Isn't this great? We didn't have to use credit." And then later on, the mom will be doing something very similar and say, "Isn't this great? We didn't have to steal it." And the idea that it's repeating but changing a little bit in these few places is really interesting. And I'd be interested if I ever saw the original short story, if they spell it out more, if things loop more. And if any of you guys had read the original short story by Barbara Owens, I'd be curious. Let me know if it does shine more light or if things are expanded there, because, you know, you can fit a lot more in a short story, and you can say things like looser ideas that are hard to portray on film. So I am curious if the short story spells it out more. But overall, a fun episode with a real hook that gets in your head. And it's one of those concepts that just golden from the concept, a really disturbing little thought. And I'll definitely be thinking about this one for a while. There's no big supernatural stuff, no explosions or anything. You know, it's a pretty much characters, drama in a house, you know, relatively easy to film, but you got a good hook, and you can shoot a cheaper episode if you write a good hook, and that's what this has got here, and yeah, I'll be thinking about it for a bit. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You're really helping the channel out. I'll put a relevant playlist on the bottom. This will probably be my TV shows playlist. You can find my review for the first episode of Darkside in there. I also cover shows like the Creepshow TV show, the Day of the Dead show, the Chucky show. A lot of that stuff will be in there as well. Some episodes of Masters of Horror, which I do need to get back onto. But anyway, if you want to see me talk about more TV, that playlist will be there. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.